Good morning from chilly Las Vegas, everybody. I hope you are doing well. I am Kevin Ioli. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I do, as you know, boxing and MMA interviews and commentary. And I'm going to get back to doing that in my next video. But I thought today I was going to do a review of a product that has made a big difference in my life. And the reason that I'm going to do the review is because I think it may make a big difference in some other people's lives. And I just wanted to share about this. And what I am going to review are the hearing aids that I wear and something, an add-on called a Roger On, and how that has helped me. Now, I am certainly not expert yet in this because I just recently got the hearing aids. I got the hearing aids in December, and I got the Roger On last week. And I'm going to explain what they are, but I want to first go into kind of tell you about my hearing journey. The last 20 or 25 years, I think it's 25 years, maybe even a little bit more than that, I have had a problem hearing. And that actually came because of work. I was covering a boxing match. Cedric Kushner, who is no longer with us, he was a beloved promoter. He promoted mostly on the East Coast, but he started doing shows in Las Vegas. And he was trying to do something different and try to get attention for his shows and maybe attract a different demographic. And he started these rock and boxing shows at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas. At the Joint at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas. It's now known as the Virgin Hotel. But at the time, it was the Hard Rock, and the place where he was doing the shows was called the Joint. And he had music playing throughout the fight card, and he basically had this the ring on a stage, and then he had everybody kind of in a mosh pit standing up, right? I got assigned a particular spot to stand, and it was right beside a floor to ceiling speaker. Um, and so I stood next to that. Probably the card was 4 hours, and it was blaring rock music all night. And unfortunately for me, that cost me my hearing. And it was gradual. Like, I had zero hearing problems. And then all of a sudden in the next week, I noticed, I'm asking people to repeat. I couldn't hear. And it was especially true of people with high decibel voices, where their voice was in that high decibel range. As time went on, it got worse. And it's now in a situation where it's really been affecting me at work. I actually had a conversation with Dana White, who himself has hearing issues. And I had mentioned him. He asked me why I didn't ask a question at one of the press conferences. It was UFC 299. And I said, based on where I was sitting, I was having difficulty hearing. And this was at the post-fight press conference. And it was in a really big room, and I was kind of away from the speaker. And I just felt embarrassed because I could not hear 100% what the person was saying. And I didn't want to ask a question that had already been asked. That happens so often at these press conferences. It's almost like somebody just wants to hear themselves talk, and there's a question asked of the fighter or of Dana or the promoter, whoever it might be. And then, a few people later, they ask the same question. I did not want to do that. And because I wasn't hearing everything that was being said from either the person at the dais or the person in the audience asking the questions, I just was quiet. And Dana said to me, don't ever let that affect you. Just go ahead and ask what you have to ask, which was great on his part. I was wearing hearing aids at that point. I was wearing Oticon More ones, which was the top of the line hearing aid that Oticon made. They were a very high-end brand, and those were their top of the line hearing aids. I think they were from 2022. But I really had difficulty in noisy environments. So if I was at home and I was wearing my hearing aids, I generally did not have issues. I still had issues with people with high pitched voices, but like men's voices, I heard okay. It was people with high pitched voices and people with accented voices that I had difficulty with. And I would notice sometimes I would do a YouTube interview with somebody and I would see the comments on YouTube, and people would say, "Oh, so and so said this," and I didn't remember him or her saying that. And I would go back and listen, and now I can listen. It's quiet. I can make the sound exactly the way I need it, and I could hear that. Yes, indeed, the person said something, and I should have asked a follow-up question to it, or just I should have reacted differently, but I could not hear it. So I started researching hearing aids, and I came across the idea of these Phonak Sphere Audéo Infinity I-90 hearing aids. That's eventually what I bought, and they are the top of the line for Phonak, but they have AI built in. And the way the AI works in those is that it kind of knows what you're listening to. And so if I'm looking over here, it kind of knows I'm talking to that person over there. And so it turns the mic for on that person, and it kind of mutes the noise or lowers the noise in the background. Not perfect, but it was a much, 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 much better situation for me than my previous hearing aids were. I mean, when I got fitted for the hearing aids, my audiologist, he actually said to me, I don't want you to think that this is going to give you perfect hearing or restore your hearing to what it was when you were younger. It is not going to do that. And he suggested that I would have a 5 to 10% increase. I've worn hearing aids, for most of the last 25 years. And so I understood how it worked, that there's just a little bit that you go up. But over time, you're getting better and better because a couple percent every year when you get a new set of hearing aids makes a big difference. Anyways, as I was researching these hearing aids, I came across a device that was called the Roger On. And this thing is just incredible. And look at how small it is. And it is really, I think, a game changer for me and can really help a lot of other people. And that's really what I want to talk about today. So my hearing aids that I am wearing, I'll take this one out. That is how big they are, and they sit behind your ear, and they have made a big difference to me. And the thing I like about this brand of hearing aids, my Oticon hearing aids, they pair to my iPhone, but that was it. These Phonak hearing aids, they pair to your phone, but up to 8 other devices. So as a result, I can pair my hearing aids to my MacBook Pro, my MacBook Air, my iPad Pro, etc. So now when I'm listening to something, it's streaming directly into my hearing aids, and I hear much, much, much better. So that is something that has been a godsend for me. But it wasn't perfect, and it still was an issue for me in noisy environments. So that's where the Roger On came in. I watched some videos. I spent a lot of 2024 watching hearing aid videos, and audiologist Dr. Cliff in Phoenix. I watched probably every video he put out. I became a connoisseur of hearing aid videos. And so I decided that this Roger On was something that might help me. And let me point out that what this has, you might be able to see there's some of these dots here around the side. They go around the thing at the top and around the side. And those are microphones. And so this helps. What this does is I can give this to somebody to wear and put on their shirt. And I'm going to give an example that I did the other day in 1 second that was an amazing help to me. Or you can put it on a table and just point it. And it works with an app on your phone, and the app is amazing. So I'm going to show you. I have the phone up right now, and I hope that the glare isn't too much, but you can see there's all those green lines. That means that the microphone is picking stuff up in every single direction. So let's say that I only want to have people that are in front of me, directly in front of me and to my left and my right, but I don't want to, have the sound coming from behind me. So what I can do is I'm going to just tap these lines, and you've noticed as I've tapped, now I only have the lines at the top. But if I want the people behind me, I'm just tapping those things again, and now I have them back on there. So then this thing will pick up the sound all around me or wherever I specify. But it has a little hook on the back that somebody can put on their shirt. It also comes with a necklace. And if I put it on there, it has AI and it understands, okay, Kevin wants to hear this person and this person only, and it streams their voice into my hearing aids. So how did I use this to my advantage? Well, the other day I had an issue. I have a brand new MacBook Air, M3 MacBook Air, that I was having an issue with. So I made an appointment at the Genius Bar. So when I got to the Apple store, they told me to sit down at a specific table. It was right near the front of the store. And as I sat there, it was probably 20 feet away from an iPhone class that was going on. And the woman was talking to the people in the class, and she was on a mic, and it was very loud, and my hearing aids were picking it up. And that was what I heard more. There were people at my table talking. They were 3 feet away from me. I could not even hear them, but I could hear her. So I got my Roger On out, and when the genius showed up to talk to me, I gave him the Roger On, and I asked him if he would hook it onto his shirt. When he did that, it was amazing. The woman who was teaching the class, her voice went way down, like she was a background voice, and I could hear it a little bit, but not a lot. And I heard him perfectly. Every question he asked me about what was going on with my Mac, I understood. I could answer. It was like I was 40 years old again, right? I mean, it was amazing how I was able to hear. And I was able to do that because I gave him this Roger On. My hearing aids were going to help me, but they were going to amplify everything. There are programs on the hearing aids that you can change, and I'll get into that in a second. But this Roger On just was an amazing difference. I put that on him, and the entire time he was there, boom, it was perfect. At UFC 311 last week, I was there at the post-fight press conference, and I put this and I had it facing Dana White and the fighters when they were up on the dais, and it was the exact same thing. It streamed directly into my hearing aids, so I heard the best quality sound that I could possibly hear. Um, and that made such a big difference for me. And if you don't wear hearing aids, if you're young and you're lucky that you have your full hearing, you're going to laugh at me and say, "Oh, you're just an old fogey," and not understand. But it takes you out of normal everyday life when you can't hear people. Some people are easier going about it than others. But like when I say, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you," or I try to guess what they're saying. I hear a little bit of what they're saying, and I try to guess. That is really difficult. And you might know somebody like that. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's a grandparent, a relative, but that person, they withdraw, right? Because they don't want to be embarrassed. And it's difficult. You don't know what somebody is saying to you, and you're embarrassed to say, "I can't hear you," 3 or 4 times in a row. And you don't want to guess and say one thing when they said another. Believe me, I have done that. And that is not good. The other thing that this Roger On it enables me to do, it comes in a little, dock like this that I can get, and it has an optical cable that I can hook to my television. So if somebody is in my house watching TV with me, before I could have hooked a headset up, but that would have only streamed to me and nobody else could have heard it. And it's important to me to be able to hear because I don't watch a lot of television, but I do sometimes when I don't attend fights, I watch the fights on TV and report off them off of television, and I need to get the accurate interviews. This way I can hear now what is going on because this streams into my hearing aids, but somebody can be in the room with me. The sound of the television is still playing so they can hear it, but the sound is going into my hearing aid. So that is really amazing. The hearing aids, the doctor said they would be a 5 to 10% increase. And it's hard to quantify, and this is just off the top of my head, but I think the hearing aids have been like a 15 to 20% improvement over what I had with my other hearing aids. I really do believe that. And I'm going to show you the app, the Phonak app, because one of the things that it does. So this is the app as it is right now. But if I want to get another program, if you see at the very top it says restaurant, I could tap on there. And when I change into that program, I have all these presets that I can change. And so it's volume, noise reduction, speech focus. So speech focus is something that I noticed was really important. Do I want a wide speech focus, or do I want a narrow speech focus? So if I'm with just one other person, I would say, hey, I want a narrow speech focus because that person is directly across from me and I want to hear them. But if we're at a table where there's 6 or 8 people, maybe a round table or even a rectangular table where there's somebody down at the other end, I want to hear those people too. And so that making a wide speech focus there will help. And then when I add the Roger on into that, it really makes a massive amount of difference. So, I know this isn't going to be something that a lot of people, who are following my videos on YouTube are going to be into because, most of you guys are younger and have your hearing, and God bless you for that because it's important. But you might know somebody, your parents, your grandparents, somebody in your life that is having hearing difficulties. I really think that these hearing aids and the combination of the Roger On 3 have made such a big difference in my life and for me. So I am very, very pleased with that. And I would give my highest recommendation to both of them. I would say if I were to rate my hearing aids, I've had them about a month right now. I would rate them about an 8.5 on a 1 to 10 scale. The Roger On, I would rate about a 9.5. It is not going to be perfect. And so you need to know that. And my doctor had told me before I got the Roger On, this was specifically about the hearing aids. He said to me, wear your Oticon hearing aids for a while, then change and put your new Phonak hearing aids in and see what the difference is. And, in both cases, there was an improvement. But I noticed that the Oticon More 1 hearing aids that I had previously had a muddier sound to them than the new Phonax that I had. So the clarity was better. So that is so important. It's not just boosting the audio, but it's boosting the audio and boosting the clarity that makes a really big difference. And so that was really amazing for me. So I am very happy with this. And I think it's going to make a big difference for me in my work and in just my everyday life. And I hope from your standpoint that if you know somebody that could benefit from this, it'll help you too. Because guess what? If you're dealing with a deaf person, a hard of hearing person, you have many times said, please repeat, blah, blah, blah. You've heard them say, please repeat, I can't hear you, whatever. This will make a difference for them and it will improve their quality of life. And if you have a loved one in that situation, of course, I know that's what you want to do. So I am very pleased with my Roger On 3 and my Phonak Audéo Sphere Infinity I-90 hearing aids. I got them from Zip Hearing. So that'll be the last thing I said. My hearing aids before, I went directly to an audiologist and I bought them from their office, and they were like in the $7,000 range. The reason that they were so expensive is because they come with lifetime service. So you go back and you can go back and the audiologist will adjust your hearing aids and work on them. So as your hearing profile changes, they will make the hearing program, the software, adjust to you. I went to Zip Hearing and my hearing aids were $45.95, so $4,600, and the Roger On was $14.95, so $1,500. A lot of money, believe me. And I had to think long and hard about doing this, but I kind of felt like they were worth it. It was an investment in me, and it was an investment in my life and my quality of life, and it was an investment in my job. And so I felt like it made a big difference for me. So I went ahead and did it. The difference with, with zip hearing is you go to an audiologist that works with zip hearing. There's a 1-year warranty and you get unlimited service in that first year. Then after that, any visit is $65. So I noticed that I don't go to the audiologist all that often after I get that one adjustment. And so if I have to go again in the future and pay $65, to me, that's not too bad. So I'm very, very pleased with what I've gotten with these hearing aids. And I think it's going to make a big difference for me going forward. And if it helps you and helps a loved one of yours, I will feel good about having recommended these to you. I mean, I would look into all the different brands of hearing aids because there's some really good ones at the very top end, but you just have to find what works for you. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me and I will try to answer your questions one-on-one. Write your comments on YouTube and I'll keep an eye on those. But we can, if you want to get have more questions directly than can be done in YouTube, I will be happy to work with you and get with you and answer any questions that you have about these. So that's it. That's my review. I am not a professional reviewer, so I hope that was okay. I'm glad you stuck with me. For those of you who did, I know it's not a big number that stuck with me through this whole thing, but thank you for doing it. Have a great day. And the fight content will be back next. Be well. See you guys.